What if I told you that a bad condition President John F. Kennedy coin in your pocket could be worth millions of dollars? In today's video, we're revealing 4 state Kennedy coins that look ordinary, worn, even damaged, but collectors are paying life-changing money for them. From rare mint errors to historic strikes that shocked the coin world, these Kennedy coins prove that condition doesn't always matter. Watch till the end, because coin number 4 could change everything you know about half dollars forever. First up, the President John F. Kennedy 1985 Mint Mark P. Kennedy half dollar, especially when found in bad or heavily circulated condition, is a compelling modern U.S. coin worth examining. Coin that blends emotional history, everyday monetary use, and collector reality into one long and meaningful story. And while it is not a rare coin in terms of numbers, it remains deeply interesting because of the man it honors and the era it represents. This coin was struck in 1985 at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P mint mark located on the obverse just above the truncation of Kennedy's neck. And it belongs to the famous Kennedy half-dollar series, first introduced in 1964, only months after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. An event that deeply shocked the United States and the world, and led Congress and the U.S. Mint to immortalize Kennedy on circulating coinage as a symbol of national mourning and unity. By 1985, the Kennedy half-dollar was firmly established as a regular circulating coin, though it was no longer widely used in everyday commerce. And it was also no longer made of silver, having transitioned fully to a copper-nickel-clad composition after 1970, consisting of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin a standard weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, and a reeded edge. Features designed for durability, but which also cause noticeable wear, darkening, and surface damage after long circulation. The obverse design by Gilroy Roberts presents a strong yet calm left-facing portrait of President Kennedy, with the word Liberty arching above, "In God We Trust" split across the field, and the date 1985, while the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparro, shows the bold presidential seal, including the heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows, a shield on its chest, and a ring of stars representing the states, surrounded by United States of America and half dollar, reinforcing themes of peace, strength, and national authority. The Philadelphia Mint produced tens of millions of Kennedy half dollars in 1985, making the issue common. And because of this high mintage, the coin's value today depends almost entirely on condition, which is why a bad condition 1985 P example, one showing heavy wear, flattened details on Kennedy's hair and jawline, weak or partially worn lettering, multiple scratches and contact marks, rim dents, dark gray or black toning, stains, corrosion spots, or a dull, lifeless surface from years of handling, usually carries only face value of 50 cents, or slightly more at 50 cents to $1, unless it displays a dramatic and verified mint error such as a major off-center strike, a strong double die, or a clipped planchet, which are rare and highly sought after. From a collector's point of view, badly worn 1985 P Kennedy half dollars are not desirable for high-grade collections, but they are still used for date and mint sets, educational collections, or as historical keepsakes. And many people keep them simply because Kennedy remains one of the most admired and iconic U.S. presidents, remembered for his leadership during the Cold War, the space race, civil rights progress, and his enduring image of youthful optimism. In the end, the 1985 P Kennedy half dollar in bad condition is a coin whose importance lies far more in history, symbolism, and everyday American life than in monetary value. representing a circulating tribute to a fallen president, the realities of modern clad coinage, and the quiet journey of money through countless hands, making it deeply interesting and meaningful, even when it is worn, scratched, darkened, and far from perfect. The President John F. Kennedy 1981 Mint Mark D. Kennedy half-dollar, especially when seen today in bad or damaged condition, is a very interesting modern U.S. coin, because it represents a unique period in American coinage history, where half-dollars were struck but not widely released for circulation. And understanding this coin requires looking at its historical background, composition, production purpose, design, condition, and collector perception all together as one complete story. This coin was produced in 1981 at the Denver Mint, identified by the D Mint mark on the obverse, just above the truncation of Kennedy's neck. And it belongs to the Kennedy half-dollar series that began in 1964, created as a national tribute shortly after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, whose legacy continues to make this series emotionally powerful for collectors and the general public alike. By 1981, the U.S. held big picture. Mint had stopped releasing half-dollars into general circulation due to low public demand. So 1981 D Kennedy half-dollars were struck primarily for collectors and sold in official U.S. mint sets, meaning they were originally intended to remain in relatively good condition, which is why finding one today in bad condition, with heavy scratches, dull surfaces, rim dents, discoloration, dark toning, or signs of mishandling, is less common, and often the result of improper storage, cleaning, exposure to moisture, or removal from mint packaging, rather than true long-term circulation. The coin is made of a copper-nickel clad composition, with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, weighing 11.34 grams, measuring 30.61 millimeters in diameter, and featuring a reeded edge, a durable structure that resists wear, but can still show surface damage and corrosion over time. The obverse design by Gilroy Roberts presents a left-facing portrait of President Kennedy, with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date 1981, while the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparow, displays the bold presidential seal with a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, a shield on its chest, and a ring of stars symbolizing the states, surrounded by United States of America and half-dollar, reinforcing themes of national strength and peace. The Denver Mint struck tens of millions of these coins in 1981, making the issue common in mint sets. And because of this high production and lack of silver content, the coin does not carry high intrinsic or rarity-based value, especially when it is in bad condition, where details on Kennedy's hair and facial features may appear flattened, lettering may look weak, and the overall appearance may be dull or unattractive due to cleaning marks or environmental damage. In such worn or damaged states, a 1981 D Kennedy half-dollar usually sells for face value, 50 cents or slightly more, typically up to $1, unless it features a confirmed and dramatic mint error, such as a strong double die, major off-center strike, or clipped planchet, which are rare and highly collectible. From a collector's perspective, badly conditioned examples are not desirable for high-grade sets, but they still hold educational value and historical interest, especially because the 1981 issue marks part of the collector-only era of Kennedy half-dollars, a time when the coin was no longer part of everyday American spending. Overall, the 1981 D Kennedy half-dollar in bad condition is valuable not for its price, but for its story, representing the lasting legacy of President John F. Kennedy. Coinage habits, and the transition of the half-dollar from a circulating workhorse to a commemorative-style collectible, making it a deeply interesting coin, even when it is scratched, darkened, or visually worn. The President John F. Kennedy 1971 Mint Mark D Kennedy half-dollar, especially when found today in bad, worn, or heavily circulated condition, is a historically important modern U.S. coin, because it represents a major turning point in American coinage, marking the first year the Kennedy half-dollar was struck entirely without silver for general circulation. And understanding this coin in depth means looking at its historical background, metal composition, design, mintage, circulation role, condition impact, and collector interest as one continuous story. This coin was produced in 1971 at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark on the obverse, just above the truncation of Kennedy's neck. And it belongs to the Kennedy half-dollar series, introduced in 1964, following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, making every coin in this series emotionally significant. But the 1971 issue stands out because it marks the transition from silver-based coinage to the modern copper-nickel-clad era, as rising silver prices forced the U.S. Mint to remove precious metal from circulating half-dollars after 1970. The 1971 D Kennedy half-dollar is composed of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, and a reeded edge. And while this clad construction was durable for circulation, it also meant the coin could easily develop dark toning, surface scratches, and a dull gray or brown appearance after years of use. The obverse design, by Gilroy Roberts, features a left-facing portrait of President Kennedy with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date 1971, while the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparro, shows the powerful presidential seal, including a heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows, a shield on its chest, and a ring of stars representing the states, surrounded by United States of America and half-dollar, symbolizing both peace and strength. The Denver Mint produced a very large number of these coins, over 300 million in 1971, making it one of the most common Kennedy half-dollars ever minted. And this massive mintage is the primary reason why the coin carries little market value today, especially when found in bad condition, such as showing heavy wear on Kennedy's hair and facial features, flattened lettering, numerous contact marks, rim dents, edge nicks, discoloration, stains, corrosion spots, or evidence of improper cleaning, all of which significantly reduce collector interest. In such worn or damaged condition, a 1971 D Kennedy half-dollar is usually worth only its face value of 50 cents, or slightly more at 50 cents to $1, unless it features a dramatic and verified mint error, like a strong double die, major off-center strike, or clipped planchet, which are rare and can greatly increase value. From a collector's standpoint, badly worn 1971 D examples are not desirable for high-grade collections, but they are still important for historical study, beginner collections, and complete date and mint sets, because they represent the beginning of the modern clad half-dollar era. Ultimately, the 1971 D Kennedy half-dollar in bad condition is a coin whose importance lies not in rarity or precious metal content, but in its role in American monetary history, reflecting the economic pressures of the early 1970s, the evolution of U.S. coinage materials, and the enduring legacy of President John F. Kennedy, making it deeply interesting and meaningful even when it is worn, scratched, darkened, and far from visually impressive. The President John F. Kennedy 1996 Mint Mark P. Kennedy half-dollar, especially when found in bad, worn, or damaged condition, is a modern U.S. coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but carries layered historical meaning, minting context, and collector insight when examined closely. And understanding it fully requires viewing it as part of the long evolution of the Kennedy half-dollar series, rather than as a rare or high-value piece. This coin was struck in 1996 at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P mint mark on the obverse just above the truncation of Kennedy's neck. And it belongs to the Kennedy half-dollar series, introduced in 1964 in the aftermath of President John F. Kennedy's assassination. a series that remains one of the most emotionally resonant in American numismatics because it permanently memorializes a widely admired leader. By 1996, the half-dollar had largely disappeared from everyday commerce, used only occasionally in casinos, transit systems, or special banking orders, and most Americans rarely encountered it in daily transactions, which is why many 1996 P examples were either saved in mint rolls or handled carelessly, leading some to appear today in bad condition due to storage damage rather than true circulation wear. The 1996 P Kennedy half-dollar is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, weighing 11.34 grams, measuring 30.61 millimeters in diameter, and featuring a reeded edge, a structure designed for durability, but still vulnerable to scratches, dark toning, surface dullness, stains, and corrosion over time. The obverse design by Gilroy Roberts shows a left-facing portrait of President Kennedy with the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 1996, while the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparro, features the presidential seal with a heraldic eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, a shield on its chest, and a ring of stars representing the states, encircled by United States of America and half-dollar, symbolizing national authority, unity, and peace. The Philadelphia Mint produced tens of millions of Kennedy half-dollars in 1996, making the issue common and easily available. And because of this high mintage and lack of silver content, the coin holds little intrinsic or rarity-based value today, especially when found in bad condition, which may include flattened hair details on Kennedy's portrait, weak or worn lettering, multiple contact marks, rim dents, edge nicks, dark gray or black discoloration, cleaning scratches, or spotting caused by moisture exposure. In such heavily worn or damaged states, a 1996 P Kennedy half-dollar is usually worth only its face value of 50 cents, or slightly more, at 50 cents to $1. Unless it displays a significant and authenticated mint error, such as a strong double die, major off-center strike, or clipped planchet, which are rare and can dramatically increase collector interest and value. From a collector's perspective, badly conditioned examples are not desirable for high-grade or investment collections, but they are still used in date and mint sets, educational collections, or kept as historical mementos, and many people retain these coins simply because John F. Kennedy remains one of the most iconic and respected U.S. presidents, remembered for his leadership during the Cold War, the space race, and his message of hope and progress. Ultimately, the 1996 P Kennedy half-dollar in bad condition is a coin whose real importance lies in its historical symbolism and its place within the broader story of modern American coinage, representing the continued circulation, however limited, of a presidential tribute coin in a changing economy, making it deeply interesting and meaningful, even when it is scratched, darkened, and visually worn.